Hello, everybody. A long time no talk, and we need to get up to speed on the Jane Doe case because a lot has happened since the last video I made. So, about 2 days ago, there was a media firestorm, a media blitz about Jay Z now suing Jane Doe. Now, before that media blitz, there was a previous prior media blitz where Jane Doe had dismissed the lawsuit voluntarily. She withdrew the lawsuit. There was a bunch of speculation on why she would have done that. Again, if you forgot, her lawyer on that case is Anthony, aka Tony Busby. Now, Busby is facing his own legal dispute against Jay-Z. He is being sued for defamation already by Jay-Z, and I think maybe even like Alex Spiro, the guy from Quinn Emanuel, who's Jay-Z's lawyer. So there's just been a lot of mudslinging back and forth between Jay-Z's side, his camp, and the Busby camp. And, this is Busby saying that Jay-Z had done illegal stuff through his attorney, Alex Spiro. I'm not saying this. I don't know. I wasn't there. We're going to have to let it get all sorted out in court. Don't take, anything I'm saying as if it's a fact. I'm just reporting things that have been said. So this lawsuit, the Jane Doe lawsuit, she withdraws the lawsuit. Now, it's unclear to me sitting right here today exactly if she just withdrew the whole entire thing. It seems like she withdrew the whole thing, including against Sean P. Diddy, Puff Daddy Combs. So that gets withdrawn. And there was a media blitz. There was a media firestorm. And the media firestorm was saying all kinds of stuff. One of the things that was one of the narratives that was being kind of run with was it was voluntarily withdrawn by Jane Doe because she was lying the whole time. That was one of the media narratives that was going on. Now, we will get into in a moment the other side of things that were being said. But before we do that, I want to show you this article, which is illustrative of the articles that were going around 2 days ago. This is from rollingstone.com. The author is Nancy Dillon. And as you can see, the title says Jay-Z sues Jane Doe accuser, claiming she admitted to lying. Now, this was posted or published on March 3rd. Today is March 6th. Jay-Z has filed a hard-hitting new defamation and malicious prosecution lawsuit against the Alabama-based Jane Doe. Now, remember, this is the Jane Doe who went on with Chloe Mayloss. Now, all of a sudden that day, amazingly, astonishingly, Chloe Mayloss learned how to vet a source. She wasn't vetting the sources whenever she was shilling for the conservatorship of Britney Spears, but thank God, at least eventually now she's finally learned how to do so. Yes, so that was the Jane Doe that we're talking about here. So Jay-Z has filed his own lawsuit now against her. This is the Jane Doe who publicly accused Jay-Z of assault involving Diddy, Sean P. Diddy, Puff Daddy Combs, but later then she admitted to inconsistencies in her story and she voluntarily dismissed her lawsuit. Now, if you just read this fast, it almost looks like she dismissed the lawsuit because there were admitted inconsistencies in her story, but that doesn't turn out to be the case, at least not according to Tony Buzbee. Let's read further in this Rolling Stone article. In Jay-Z's new lawsuit filed this week on Monday, obtained by Rolling Stone, Jay-Z says that the woman and her lawyers, which are Tony Busby and David Fortney, engaged in a, quote, evil conspiracy to extort Jay-Z with the, quote, completely fabricated and wildly horrific claim that he, R-word, Jane Doe, alongside Sean P. Diddy, Puff Daddy Combs in the year 2000. The woman first revealed her claim in an October lawsuit that alleged Sean P. Diddy, Puff Daddy Combs and an unidentified celebrity male took turns assaulting her at an after party for the MTV Music Awards when she was only 13 years old. She filed a revised version of her lawsuit 2 months later in December, naming Jay-Z as that previously unnamed celebrity. And according to the new lawsuit filed by Jay-Z, representatives for the Grammy-winning rapper made direct contact with this Jane Doe recently. She allegedly admitted that she did concoct her claim about Carter. She felt pressured by her legal team to repeat this concoction during an on-camera interview with NBC, that's Chloe Mayloss, in mid-December. The NBC interview maintained Jane Doe's anonymity, but exposed several notable discrepancies in her account. Again, Oh, happy day. Thank God Chloe Malos learned how to vet a source. Hopefully, she keeps that skill going forward. They give an example. For instance, while the Jane Doe claimed she met musician Benji Madden at the same party, turns out Madden was in another state on tour at the time. Again, we've already discussed this. He could have got on a plane easily that night. It turns out Madden was in another state. Jane Doe's father also claims he does not remember coming to pick her up, which we don't know if he's lying. We don't know if he's telling the truth. There's a quote from the lawsuit, Jay-Z's new lawsuit. Quote, Jane Doe has now voluntarily admitted directly to representatives of Jay-Z the story brought before the world in court and on a global television was just that, a false, malicious story. This is what the new lawsuit claims. Quote, she has admitted that Mr. Carter did not assault her, that indeed it was Tony Buzbee, who she met for the first time at a coffee shop in Houston on the day of her maliciously false NBC News interview. Okay, this is interesting. It's very interesting. The quote from the lawsuit says that Jane Doe apparently admitted that the first day she ever met Tony Busby was in a Houston coffee shop, and that was the same exact day of her NBC News interview. So she didn't even meet Tony Busby until after the lawsuit was filed, at least according to Jay-Z's lawsuit, or the quote that they are quoting from it here. I mean, I don't know. I will look the lawsuit up, but I wanted to discuss this lawsuit through the article because I also want to talk about Tony Busby has made a statement on Instagram about this as well. Tony Busby, the lawsuit claims, pushed Jane Doe to go forward with the false narrative of the assault by Jay-Z in order to leverage a maximum payday. Busby gave a statement to the Rolling Stone. He says this case, which alleges the same thing as another one he pieces together and filed in LA, also has no legal merit. Jay-Z's investigators have repeatedly harassed, threatened, and harangued this poor woman for weeks, trying to intimidate her and make her recant her story. She won't. Instead, she has stated repeatedly that she stands by her claims. The same group of investigators have been caught on tape offering to pay people to sue me and my firm. This is Tony Busby saying this. He goes on, this is just another attempt to intimidate and bully this poor woman, and we will deal with it in due course. We won't be bullied or intimidated by frivolous cases. Jay-Z's new lawsuit claims that Busby's firm failed to adequately vet the client, the Jane Doe client. Without naming her, the filing says that less than 90 days before the demand letter was issued, this Jane Doe had been in court on mental health related issues, and she had been charged with assault in the second degree. It further alleges that Jane Doe has several mental health disorders and takes multiple medications, according to testimony from her psychiatrist that were laid bare in public court records. Now, this may be true, but my question would be, so what? So what? In and of itself, who cares? Probably half the people watching this video have several mental health disorders and take multiple medications a day. There's nothing wrong with that. That's kind of how it's set up over here. I mean, you kind of got to be on medicine to even live in this open air prison that we live in. So what? Anybody that has a mental health disorder or more than one, they're lying all the time. I mean, so what? I'm going to need a lot more evidence than she was in court on a mental health related issue. Also, does it necessarily look great for her that she was charged with assault in the second degree? No, but a charge is not the same thing as a conviction, first of all. Second of all, so what? Everybody that has ever assaulted somebody can't be telling the truth. I mean, last I checked, Jay-Z has been charged with things in his past as well. Last I checked, Jay-Z might have assaulted a fellow record company owner back in the 2000s and maybe was on probation for it last I checked. So we don't need to believe everything he says now. Everything he says is a lie now. I mean, by his own logic, it seems like that's what they're trying to imply. So again, so what? I think this could have been left out. I do not like the precedent of saying, oh, someone has a mental health disorder or two and takes medicine, so everything they say is a lie. I don't like that precedent because we're living at the same time as people are trying to say remove the mental health stigma. People are not going to want to go get help from their psychiatrist or from a psychiatrist or from anybody if everything they ever say is going to be considered to be not the truth. I don't like it, so I must take a stand against it. It says in a follow-up statement Tuesday, so a couple days ago, Busby addressed his client's voluntary dismissal and said that she stands by her allegations. She's not reneging her allegations. No, she's not. She only dismissed the lawsuit, Busby said. Quote, she has health issues. She has seizures. She withdrew her case. They wanted a headline, so in that new case, they falsely claimed she recanted. She didn't. She hasn't. She won't. Attempts to reach the other attorney that represents her were not immediately successful. Busby previously denied any wrongdoing in court filings opposing separate extortion and defamation claims filed against him by Carter in Los Angeles County. We won't be bullied or intimidated. Period. Jay-Z's new lawsuit repeats the allegation that Busby's firm sent him an extortionate demand letter in November requesting a private mediation ahead of a planned lawsuit. Jay-Z claims the letter threatened financial and personal devastation if he didn't work out a deal, and this was alleged to silence her. I mean, this is kind of old news. I've made videos about this. Last week, a Los Angeles judge said that he was on the verge of dismissing Jay-Z's extortion claim against Busby unless Jay-Z could produce additional evidence. Okay, this is big news. Okay, this is big news just buried right here. Last week, a judge already told Jay-Z, I'm about to dismiss your extortion claim unless you can give me some evidence. It wasn't immediately clear Monday if the alleged new statement from Jane Doe would be admissible in that case. The California judge said in Jay-Z's related defamation case against Busby that it appeared strong enough to proceed toward the trial. Okay, so there's two cases going on in LA. One is extortion. One is defamation. The California judge said, I'm about to dismiss the extortion. I'm going to need some more evidence. But the defamation one, maybe I can let it go forward. The judge took the matter under submission, promising a ruling on Busby's dismissal motion soon. So Busby filed in California a motion to dismiss Jay-Z's lawsuit. And what's the lawsuit for? One more time, extortion and defamation. The judge is saying, extortion's looking like I'm about to dismiss it, Jay-Z, unless you can give me some more evidence. Looking like the defamation claim may be able to go to trial. Judge hasn't decided yet. As of the time of this Rolling Stone article, the judge had not made a decision, but one was going to be coming forth soon. In a sworn statement filed in that case last month, Jay-Z said it was no exaggeration that he viewed Busby's promise to name him in this lawsuit as an existential threat to his reputation, career, and family. Jay-Z said, quote, I felt that Tony Busby was placing a gun to my head that I either bow to his demands or endure personal and financial ruin. His actions caused me mental anguish about the ticking time and what it would do to me, my family, and my hard-earned reputation. Now, it's interesting because in order to win a defamation case, Jay-Z is going to have to prove harm. And if he's saying that he had mental anguish, it's going to have to be him who's next going to have to turn over some evidence. He's going to have to turn over his doctor's notes saying, here's the evidence of the mental anguish. You can't just say, oh, I got mental anguish. You got to turn over evidence. So what's good for the goose got to be good for the gander. What's good for Jane Doe, they can hold her mental health against her. But what's going to happen if Jay-Z has to then show that he had mental anguish, anxiety, depression, whatever, paranoia, PTSD? He's going to now have to go on record saying that he has mental health issues. Do you see how fast that the slope could slip right back down onto you? How the shoe can come off of her foot and go right onto yours? That's why I don't think anybody should be held as if they're lying because they have a mental health issue. Now, am I saying that Jay-Z's lying? Am I saying that he don't have a mental health issue? No, he probably does. I mean, it makes sense that he would, but he's going to have to show proof. He wrote in the lawsuit filing last week, quote, it was incredibly painful, this is Jay-Z saying this, for my wife, Beyonce, and me to sit down with our children, Blue Ivy and the rest, one of whom is at an age where her friends, Blue, would surely see the press and ask questions about the claims. I mourn the loss of innocence for my children, including one who is around the age that the female minor claims to have been when she falsely claims these heinous acts happened. I'm heartbroken that my children have to endure hearing these things about their father, especially at their young age. Carter also claimed that after Busby went public with the allegations, the quote, false allegations, his company Rock Nation lost contracts worth $20 million per year. He also questioned the timing of the amended complaint filed in early December. I was harshly criticized by others for accompanying my daughter to the premiere of the movie Mufasa Lion King a day after Busby filed the Jane Doe lawsuit against me. Media outlets reported that Disney was hesitant over my attendance at the premiere because of the accusations. Jay-Z said, I feel that Mr. Busby purposely filed this lawsuit on the eve of my daughter's premiere to put me in the position of having to choose between supporting my daughter or hiding to avoid the negative press coverage. Now, this right here, the contracts that Roc Nation lost, which were allegedly worth $20 million a year, again, Jay-Z is going to have to show which specific contracts were interfered with. He's going to have to show proof of this. In his new lawsuit filed in federal court in Alabama against Jane Doe, Jay-Z again mentioned damage to his family and reputation, as well as the alleged $20 million lost in business for Roc Nation. Again, one case is going on in LA, and it's split into two, right? It's the defamation and extortion, that's California. But he's now also filed a suit against Jane Doe herself in Alabama. Carter mentioned damage to his family and reputation, as well as the alleged $20 million in lost business for Roc Nation. And also he mentioned this in the Alabama case. So he mentioned it in both LA and Alabama. He also included claims for abuse of process and civil conspiracy, and he is seeking real and punitive damages with the new complaint. Now, the question becomes, is he going to get money from this Jane Doe? Very unlikely. Very unlikely. It seems like, trying to get blood from a turnip, honey from a rock, whatever you want to call it. Does he really need the money? No, doesn't seem like it. Even if he lost $20 million a year, he's like a billionaire, that's all I'll say. The article goes on, defendants acted with malice because, public figures have to prove an extra step in defamation, has to prove that the public figure has to prove actual malice. Actual malice means the person, the Jane Doe, the person, Buzbee, whoever made the claim, which was false, has to be a false claim, did so knowing the claim was false or having very good reason to know it was false, stuff like that, actual malice. So Jay-Z is going to have to prove actual malice if he wants to win any of these cases for defamation. He says the actual malice did exist because initiating the meritless lawsuit against Mr. Carter in and of itself was malicious. Jay-Z claims that the Jane Doe and the rest devised and executed their plan to accuse Jay-Z of assault and use national news and media outlets. So we have this similar to Justin Baldoni, what's her name? Blake Lively allegations coming up, right? Like seeding the story, astroturfing, putting it in the media to do a trial by media. That's what Jay-Z is claiming happened with Buzbee and Jane Doe. Use national news and media outlets to disseminate the fabricated accusations to millions, despite the falsity of the accusation. Defendants' actions were willful and purposeful in order to maximize their reputational harm to Jay-Z and induce him to pay them. So that's the extortion claim he's trying to make over there in LA. It sounds like he's trying to say similar things over here in Alabama. At a minimum, the defendants initiated this lawsuit against Jay-Z with reckless disregard for the falsity of the allegations, and they're going to have to prove the reckless disregard if they're going to prove the actual malice. Now, I wanted to read this as well. This is an Instagram post by Tony Buzbee, and he's got this picture. I don't know who this is. Looks like the guy from American Horror Story Apocalypse. I mean, I really don't know. But look, he said 2 days ago, March 4th, Tony Buzbee said, I have ignored the salacious and false stories about me that are nothing more than an effort to deter me from doing my important work. Buzbee said, I do think it's important at some point to comment when the truth has been turned upside down. Here's the deal. I sent a demand for a meeting to Sean Carter's attorney on behalf of 2 individuals who alleged assault. Rather than meet up with me, Carter's team sued me for extortion. Okay, this is Tony Buzbee's public statement, his public Instagram post. Those claims were stupidly frivolous, Tony Buzbee said, and I expect they will be thrown out. Note, it was actually Jay-Z's team that made the whole thing public. Jay-Z's lawyer also came to Houston and met with the local authorities and tried to get criminal charges started against me. Buzbee said that went nowhere. Then they tracked down and harassed former employees and clients of the Buzbee firm from as far back as 20 years ago. They were caught on tape. This is Buzbee making this allegation about Jay-Z's investigators and stuff. Caught on tape, offering up to 10 grand to former clients to sue me. 3 did so. All three cases were patently frivolous, and one has already been dismissed. I expect the other two will also be dismissed. Because they refused to meet with me, and because I have an obligation to my clients, I brought claims against Jay Z on the behalf of one of those clients in the state of New York. Jay Z's team filed a meritless motion for sanctions against me, challenged my admission to federal court in New York, and filed a state bar grievance against me. Now, a lot of people ask me, a lot of people do, not a lot, a few from time to time, people say, why did you give up your law license? Why? Why did you give it up? This is why. Because whenever somebody is mad at you, whether for good reason or not, for me, it was not good reason. It was because I told people that they lied. It was because I was reporting on conflicts of interest in the case of Lou Taylor. I just knew, I'm not stupid. I knew it was only a matter of time before somebody did this. It was only a matter of time. Everything else that Tony Buzbee has described in this Instagram post, other than the reporting on the law license, has been done to me. My friends and family have been tracked down and harassed. People that were working with me on the investigation team were tracked down, and people that were working with me on the investigation team, some of them did turn against me. People have said they were offered things, including perhaps money, to turn against me to file declarations in court. Cases have been dismissed. Meritless motions have been filed against me and dismissed. Defamation claims have been brought against me and dismissed. One has been considered a slap suit, and they owe me attorney's fees for it. So all of these other things, read the writing on the wall, y'all, have happened to me because powerful people with more money than sense, with more resources than sense and integrity, have already done all this stuff to me. It was only a matter of time before I pissed the right one or the wrong one off, and they tried to file a state bar grievance against me. And so before they could do that, I fell on the sword, baby girl, baby boy. No, you're not going to do that to me. You never will. Nope. I gave it up. Happily, voluntarily resigned it because it's only a matter of time. I don't need to spend my time. I don't want to spend my time. And it is not my responsibility, not my duty on this earth to spend my time defending a law license. Nope. Gave it up before they could do that bull crap. And before you can even voluntarily resign, you cannot have any active complaints pending on your license. And so if I would have had any active complaints pending on my license, I wouldn't have been able to voluntarily dismiss it. I would have been forced to defend myself. And no, I ain't stupid. Might have been born at night, but it wasn't last night. No, it was not. And so this is the answer. And I said it in my video, I'm retiring from law or whatever. I said it. I don't want to practice law. I don't want to have a boss. I don't want anybody telling me what I could do. And I don't want anything I'm scared to lose, including a law license. No, I don't. He said, here's where it gets really nasty. They found my client who had filed suit. They threatened and harassed her. They harassed her family and her friends. She has health issues. This is the Jane Doe that Tony Buzbee's talking about. She has seizures. She withdrew her case for seemingly those reasons, is what Busby is trying to say. Then they sued her and me again for defamation. He's saying they already sued me one time, now they sue me again. They had already sued me for defamation, and most of that case is also being thrown out. I think that's the aspect that Rolling Stone mentioned about the extortion case where the judge is like, I'm about to dismiss this, girl. Pay attention here, Busby says. They wanted a headline. So in that new case, they falsely claimed she recanted. So Busby's saying she did not recant. She didn't. She hasn't. She won't. Voluntarily withdrawing a case, Busby is saying, is not the same thing as recanting, baby boy. That's what Busby's saying, basically. I'm translating. Busby said, I wasn't there. I don't know I wasn't there, essentially. I wasn't there when the things she claims happened to her allegedly happened. I wasn't there, Busby says. I'm just her lawyer. I was sent her case by another firm and vetted it myself, and with multiple lawyers on my team. The approach here by Jay-Z's team is unprecedented. It reeks of desperation. Wonder why? We won't be bullied or intimidated, period. Now, I hear that. And, part of me wants to stand up for Busby and say, yeah, because again, like I said, I've been on the receiving end of this type of ambush. That being said, it does appear to be a little bit of a contradiction because he's saying we won't be intimidated, period. But at the same time, he's saying that Jane Doe was intimidated. That's why she withdrew her lawsuit, because she was intimidated. Her family and friends were contacted allegedly. She was harassed allegedly. This is what Buzbee's saying. So it does appear that at least the client can be intimidated. Now, I mean, it begs the question, is he talking when he says we won't be bullied or intimidated? He's talking about himself and his law firm. He's talking about him and Jane Doe. I mean, I really don't know. I really don't know. But it does appear like this case is far from over. This is not something that is just going to be, oh, Jane Doe lawsuit voluntarily dismissed, everyone rides off into the sunset. No, there's open cases to and fro. I think there's also a case against Alex Spiro and his law firm filed by Busby. We're going to just have to see. I'm not going to put any more of my own opinion in here other than to just tell y'all this right here, what we just read, is the reason I gave up my law license, because it was only a matter of time before I pissed the right one off with enough money, more than sense, or whatever. Not saying that's the case with Jay-Z, but I am saying that is the case with the people who I investigate and look into. A lot of them has a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of resources at their expense. And a very easy way to go after somebody is to try and attack their credibility, try to say they're a failed lawyer, try to say they were disbarred. I mean, we already saw Steve the failed clown lying on the internet saying he heard I got disbarred or something. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Giving up your license voluntarily is not getting disbarred, baby boy. I'm sure he now knows that. I'm sure he knew it when he even said it. But again, they want to discredit. It would be in Jay-Z's best interest to discredit not only Jane Doe, but her lawyers. So again, bye. Don't need it. I don't want nothing. I'm scared to lose. I'm here for the truth. I'm here for the Lord. I don't work for none of y'all. I don't work for nobody but the Lord. Okay. I'm not going to be sitting around here getting nothing filed on my law license that I earned. No, I will not. My record is unimpeachable and unimpeached. Okay, so that's what I'll say there. I definitely will be keeping up with the case. If you didn't know, I don't know how you couldn't have. I've been out of the country for over a month. I was doing some stuff. I'm not going to get into all of that. I did make videos about it. I do have a new channel, travel channel, kind of recapping some of the stuff. There's going to be more stuff coming out on that soon. But I do need to kind of get back into a few of the cases I was covering, including Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs, including Luigi Mangione. And even today, March 6th, apparently there is a Justin Baldoni Blake Lively hearing. There's been some new filings. There's the Jed Wallace of it all. I mean, I'm very interested in that for personal reasons. Also, it's weird how it links all back with BAM, Paramount, all of that. And there's some updates with Lima Yevremovich. Not only did I win and was I victorious in 8 frivolous, vexatious motions that Lima tried to file again. 8 more. Yes, 8 more. I was victorious in all 8 of them, getting them thrown out in California court. But Lima is now being sued by her fancy celebrity defamation lawyer. And it's not only Lima who's being sued. There are other John and Jane Does who are being sued as co-defendants for legal fees. And it appears that it is the legal fees in the lawsuit against me in New Jersey. Guess who the one named co-defendant is? A production studio. Now, your question might be, why would a production studio be responsible for Lima Yevrimovich's legal fees? Great question. I'm going to be making videos trying to get to the bottom of that as well. That's all I really have for today. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation, and neither are opinions, girl. Love you, mean it. Okay, bye.